Many of you have asked about how to read St. Thomas Aquinas. He is a complex thinker and a very important thinker, but you have to put him in context. First thing to recall is he is a man of the Scholastic period. So let's take a look at probably the most basic document, the most common document you will come across, his Summa Theologiae. For those that are familiar with St. Thomas, or maybe if you're one of the 7 people on the planet that can read his handwriting or read Latin, this video is probably not for you. This video is for the beginner, for one that has maybe never seen St. Thomas, that's never read him, or one that has only read him in summary, because for this we're going to read him directly. This video tutorial is going to help you understand how to ease into St. Thomas by reading his Summa, and then later on any of his disputed questions. So we'll start with the basics, the Summa Theologiae. This is one of his great works that is the summation of theology. He is applying his knowledge to just about every aspect of theology. And it's broken into 3 parts. The first part, second part, and the third part. And the second part is so large that it's broken into 2 parts itself. So this is where you see this notation, the Summa Theologiae, first part, which usually has a Roman number 1, or the first part of the second part, or the second part of the second part, or the third part. Now there is a section called the Supplementum. You might see this also as the third part, but this was a life's work for St. Thomas, and at the end, when he was working through his third part, the last part of this, unfortunately he died before he could finish it. So his friend Reginald decided to put together the rest of it, so dealing with penance, extreme unction, holy orders, matrimony, a lot of the elements of this, closing the loop in his Summa. So as you go into this, one of the things you can do is go through the various versions of this, but usually you'll see this standard way of notating it. As you look at one of the parts, say we open up the first part or something, what you'll find is it is a series of questions, and with those questions come articles. So if we have something, say question 14, under that are 16 articles. So the question 14 in the first part would be God's knowledge. So of that, there are articles that deal with specific aspects of God's knowledge. So is there knowledge in God? Does God understand himself? Does he comprehend himself? Things like this. So what it's doing is, it's a broad question, and yet here are the details. So let's say, does he have knowledge of evil? Does he know the infinite? These are various questions that come up. Now, as you get into a particular question, is the knowledge of God discursive, let's say. So that's Article 7 under the question. It's question 14, Article 7. Whether the knowledge of God is discursive. Now notice, the minute you start reading down in the way in which we would normally do this today, you're going to start with objection 1, objection 2, objection 3, on the contrary. So all these sections, what you're seeing here is a written down version of the Disputatio from the Middle Ages. There would be an entire hall of invited guests or students from the university, and they would come together to talk about this particular question, or maybe this article, whether the knowledge of God is discursive. And these objections are actually questions. They're saying whether God's knowledge is discursive. It seems that it is discursive, or it seems that it's not discursive, or something of this nature. And so each student would stand up and pose his statement, or his question, or his objection, however you want to state these. Then it would be incumbent upon the master, usually St. Thomas or one of the other teachers of theology at the university, would bring up an on the contrary, which means I'm going to say, well, this is on the contrary to your objections. Here is my source I have a particular source that's not necessarily me, usually it could be Augustine or the scriptures or something like this. And then he's going to say, I answer that. And the I answer that, or the respondeo, or I respond, or something of this nature. The I answer that is his magisterial statement. This is the answer that I have for you. Then later on, what you're going to have a reply to objection 1, objection 2, objection 3, and on. So this is the basic format of all of the works in the Summa. Now, for us, the modern reader, I would suggest we chop this up. You have a question and the article. Read the title of the article, then immediately go to I answer that, the respondeo. At this point, you can read his magisterial statement. And it's going to make, it should make the most sense. As you read through it, one of the things you will notice is on many of these he says we have to make a distinction. At this point, you can start making little trees. We have to make a distinction between this or that, and then so it's going to go up and down. And it would be good for you to just take notes on this and quite literally draw this out graphically. There will be, you can look at it in this way or in this way. And if you look at it in this way, and then he'll start saying, if we look at it the first way, it's going to be XYZ. If you look at it the second way, it's going to be ABC. So some of the answers can get very involved, so it would be helpful to sort of draw out the answer in a lot of these. Once you get this down, then it would be good to go back up to the objections. Start with objection 1, read the objection, make sure you understand it. And then go to the reply to objection 1. Then go back up to objection 2, then the reply to objection 2. Objection 3, reply to objection 3, and so on and so forth. This way you at least have where he's starting from, and then you can address the objections, and you see how the objections go against his thesis. Or sometimes they actually go with his thesis. They'll agree with him, but they'll agree with him for the wrong reason. So, again, the basic order would be question, article, title, I answer that or I respond, then objection 1, reply to objection 1, objection 2, reply to objection 2, objection 3, reply to objection 3. So, at this situation, you can now get a hold of the concepts in there until you get fairly comfortable with St. Thomas. And at some point, you'll realize that you can hold these objections in your head and then read straight down. So you'll read from the article to the objections to the respondeo to the reply to the objections. And after a while, it just becomes fairly fluid if you do this enough. If you don't do this on any regular basis, I would suggest starting with that early system. So there you go. Hopefully, you have an understanding now of how to read St. Thomas basically in a very simple way. After a while, again, you can get used to how the layout is made, and you can also expand beyond the Summa to other things, disputed questions and things of that nature, where there are a lot more objections, a lot more replies, and the response is pretty complex. But right now, just start with the Summa, which is fairly simple. All right? Good luck.